Welcome back to Sports Class with Dr. K. It is NFL draft time. That can mean only one thing. We're talking about draft busts, and now we're talking about draft steals. So check out our previous video about the biggest busts in NFL draft history. Today we're getting into the later rounds of the draft, when every NFL team hopes to stumble upon that steal. Some people talk about the third or fourth round as territory to find a steal. To me, a good third round pick or fourth round pick, that's a nice pick, but that's not quite a steal. We're talking about sixth round or later. So those of you who want to talk about Joe Montana or Dan Fouts in the third round as a big steal, those are nice picks, but we're talking about sixth round or later. So let's get to it. All right, the 10th biggest steal in draft history, Marcus Colston, drafted by the Saints with the 252nd overall pick in 2005. That's 3 picks away from Mr. Irrelevant, the last pick in the draft. And this guy turned out to be maybe good enough to make it into the Hall of Fame. For many years, he was the favorite target of Drew Brees, and he retired with 711 catches, almost 10,000 yards, and 73 touchdowns. Pretty darn good for a 7th round draft pick. At number 9 is Jackie Smith, the tight end taken in the 10th round of the 1963 draft at 129th overall. Now, most of us remember Jackie Smith for dropping a touchdown pass in Super Bowl 13. He's got to be the sickest man in America. But he actually was a pretty good tight end as well, the best of his era. Made the Pro Bowl 5 straight years and actually was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1994. Pretty good for a 10th round pick. Our next steal is Roger Staubach, who remarkably enough was also taken in the 10th round, also with the 129th overall pick, but a year later in 1964. Now, some teams had shied away from Roger Staubach, although they all knew he was a great quarterback, but because he was in the Navy, he was committed to 5 years of service. The Dallas Cowboys rolled the dice and waited 5 years until 1969 when he could actually play. Staubach blossomed into one of the best quarterbacks in the league and led the Cowboys to 4 Super Bowls in the 1970s. At number 7 on our list is Shannon Sharpe, the tight end taken 192nd overall in the 7th round of the 1990 draft. Sharpe went on to become one of John Elway's favorite targets on his way to winning 2 Super Bowls with the Broncos and another with the Ravens. He ended up retiring, having won 3 Super Bowls, one of the best tight ends ever, and made the Hall of Fame in 2011. Number 6 on our list is Richard Dent, defensive end for the Chicago Bears. He was drafted in the 8th round in 1983 with the 203rd overall pick. Just 2 years later, he was the anchor of perhaps the greatest defense of all time, the Monsters of the Midway, the 1985 Chicago Bears defense. He led the league with 17 sacks that year. Dent retired with 137.5 sacks on his career and made the Hall of Fame in 2011. All right, at number 5 on our list is Raymond Berry, wide receiver for the Indianapolis Colts. He was actually drafted in the 20th round, the lowest round on our list, 232nd overall pick. He became the favorite wide receiver target for Hall of Fame quarterback Johnny Unitas and their great success in the 50s and 60s. He's best known for starring in the 1958 championship game when he had 12 catches and 178 yards. When Berry retired, he held the career records in NFL history for most catches and most receiving yards. At number 4 overall is Antonio Brown, drafted in the 6th round of the 2010 draft, 195th overall. Now, Brown's legacy still may be being written, even though he's out of the league at this moment. But even if his career numbers stand where they are, he has 841 catches overall and more than 11,000 total yards as the favorite target for all those years with Big Ben and the Pittsburgh Steelers. He'll be squarely in the Hall of Fame discussion even if he never plays again. Our number 3 biggest steal in draft history is Deacon Jones, defensive lineman for the St. Louis Rams. He was drafted with the 186th overall pick in the 14th round of the 1961 draft. He went on to become one of the greatest defensive linemen in NFL history. And actually, the term sack was created for Deacon Jones. So his career numbers are somewhat hazy, but most people believe he retired with somewhere in the neighborhood of 175 career sacks. One of the greatest defensive linemen of all time. Number 2 on our list of biggest steals of all time is Bart Starr, the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers through most of those great years of the late 50s and into the 60s. He was taken in the 17th round of the 1956 draft, the number 200 overall pick, and became one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. He led those Vince Lombardi teams to 5 championships in the 60s, including victories in the first 2 Super Bowls. Not bad for a 17th round pick. We've made it to the number 1 biggest steal in NFL draft history. And if you've been paying attention, you know there's no other choice at this point but Tom Brady, the GOAT, the greatest quarterback of all time. He lasted until the 6th round, the 199th overall pick. Now he's gone on to become the greatest quarterback ever. Even if his career ends at this point with 9 Super Bowl appearances, 6 Super Bowl wins, 4 MVPs, he's the greatest ever. So, if your team has a late round draft pick this year, don't give up. They might just stumble onto the greatest quarterback of all time or another incredible steal in the draft. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.